Hi, friends. Happy Wednesday. Nice to see you. Today, I'm going to let my mom introduce herself first. But first, let's go live on Insta. Here we go. All right. Go, Minnie. Introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I am Minnie from Toronto, and uh, I am mother of two and grandmother of four. I am two-time breast cancer survivor and divorce survivor, and I am on the journey of health healing. So, yeah, that which started about now almost 8 9 years, and enjoying life and love to do these chatting and cooking with Simran. So that's my story.
Thanks for being here, Min. So, my name is Dr. Simran. I am a triple board certified physician. If you don't know me, in internal medicine, hospice and palliative care, and lifestyle medicine. I'm also a health and wellness coach. And 10 years ago, I found out I carry the BRCA1 genetic mutation that my mom also has. And it sent me down this path over the last 10 years to learn everything I could about food and lifestyle as medicine that I didn't learn about in medical school. And now I'm super passionate, like my mom is, of helping especially busy women and moms to optimize their gut health, their metabolic health, their mental health, so that they can be the best role models for their kids and create generational health going forward. So we come here live every Wednesday to show you a simple recipe that you can make that is plant powered, that is super healthy, and that doesn't take a lot of time. So lately, we've been on this kick of making salads because, oops, someone's at my door. All right, man, you keep going. I'll be right back.
Okay, so yeah, salad is the vibe right now. We are, and spring is here, and we are looking to eat more fresh food. And in summertime, anyways, we love to have more fruits and vegetables are in the air. More produce is there, fresh fruit produce is there. So it's nice to have salads. And salads, people usually feel that it's hard to make, but I find salads are the most easiest things to make. And what I promised you guys in March, that I will show you the simple uh, ingredient salad, which you don't have to put too much of an effort with the salads. And my salads, what you will see in next few, maybe next a few weeks, will be simple 1 2 3 recipes, one or like three ingredients, four ingredients, simple, with a simple um, what do you call vinaigrette. Because in summertime you want lemony, and it's that's what the vibe is all about in summer. So that's what my salad is all about: high in protein, light, hydrated vegetables. Like this is a um, cucumber, which is like 95% water. Same here with tomato. Then this protein, this is 2 cup protein, which is 36 grams of protein in it, which is 2 cups. And then for a nice, this is a microgreen, which is dill. I love dill. There's a lot of benefits of it. Maybe Simran can put some light on that. But I love to use dill in my salads. So yeah, that's what I'm making. And Simran, over to Simran now.
Awesome. Yeah. So I'm actually making something that could be a salad, but it could also be like a noodle bowl. So I'm making a Thai zucchini noodle bowl. If you want this recipe, I posted it on my Instagram yesterday, on my Facebook. You just have to go and comment zucchini and I will send it to you. But it's super easy. Now I'm going to show you how to make it even easier. This noodle bowl uses spiralized veggies instead of noodles. So this is great because it makes it a very low calorie, low carb option, especially if you're someone that's trying to lose weight, if you're trying to regulate your blood sugars. This is a great way to get that feeling that you're eating noodles without all of the carbs that come with, especially white pastas and stuff. Now, if you want to add noodles in here, you could totally do that. I would go for like a lentil noodle or a chickpea noodle, which will give you more protein and more fiber. So what I did, because I don't have time to spiralize zucchini, which it doesn't take that much time, but honestly, when you think about all the things that I do in a day, or that most women do in a day, it's a lot to do. So this is a simple hack. Most grocery stores will have like a prepared produce section. And so if you're on the journey where you're just starting to incorporate more meal prep, you're just starting to cook more at home, you want to include eating more fiber, whole food plants, then do this. And yes, it does cost a little bit more, but in the long run, it's going to save you money because you're not eating out for last minute dinners and convenience foods, and because it's going to save you because it's good for your health, right? So this is something that I just picked up yesterday from the grocery store. And these are zucchini noodles. So, usually you don't even need to cook them, you just eat them raw. So I'm just gonna add a bunch of these to my bowl, and this really becomes a rainbow salad. So zucchini, similar to like my mom was talking about cucumber, it's very hydrating. It's mostly water, very hydrating. Like I said, low calorie, lots of fiber. And then we're gonna add all the colors of the rainbow here. And what that's gonna do is it's gonna give us an antioxidant rich salad. So we're gonna add some purple cabbage here. White cabbage is great too, but purple one adds more color, but then also red cabbage, just like blueberries, has something in there called anthocyanins. And anthocyanins are really, it's a type of antioxidant or plant compound. They're great for heart health, it's great for brain health, it's great for your immune system. So, the more color you get is a representation of the more benefits from the food that you're getting. And I'm talking about colors from nature's food, right? So fruits, vegetables, beans, legumes, lentils, nuts, seeds. I'm not talking about, the color you get in the red cupcake at the grocery store. Like, that's not the kind of color you want to be adding. Once in a while, it's okay. But, and then I don't have carrot noodles, but I just sliced these really, really thin. And you could also just chop it. You don't have to slice it if you don't want to. But here we have, this. And then it's going to be very simple. In this, all we're going to add, I might have to cut up my carrots because I don't think they're going to mix very well. I might have to cut them small. But then in here, all we're going to do is we're going to add some, to add a little bit of flavor. Like my mom added dill to hers, right? I'm going to add some scallions, which I got from the farmer's market in my box this week. And then I'm gonna add some cilantro. And I actually had some leftover edamame as well, so I'll throw those in there. Now, this doesn't really have a whole lot of protein, so if you were using this as your lunch, what you could do is throw in some tofu, or you could put some edamame in there. Because I'm going for that Thai flavor, my mom had roasted these peanuts for me, which I still have, and so I'm gonna put these roasted peanuts in there. And then I made, and then, if you want to add some sweetness, you could add some mango. You can make this whatever you want. Once you have the base, you do what makes most sense for you. So then I made a very simple dressing here, no oil. Okay, and actually the book I got it from, it's one of my favorites for dressings. It's Carly Bodrug. She has this book called Plant You, and her dressings are amazing. So this is spicy peanut dressing. Very simple. There's peanut butter in here, apple cider vinegar, a little bit of maple syrup, a little bit of water, and soy sauce, and that's it. And lime, sorry. And then after that, I'm just gonna add some sriracha, and there's my lunch or dinner or whatever. I'm not gonna add the dressing in right now because I wanna put it in right before I eat it. That's the thing with this salad and most salads, you wanna add the dressing right before you eat it. Otherwise it might get soggy. So I actually learned that from my mom. I remember early on, I would just add the dressing and I would make a whole bunch of salad, and then the next day would be super soggy and not very good. So, if you're joining us right now, welcome. We are just making a couple of simple salads. I made a zucchini noodle bowl with a spicy peanut sauce, super tasty. And my mom made a simple 3 ingredient salad. If you want the recipe for the noodle bowl, just go to my Instagram. I shared it yesterday. Comment zucchini on the post and you'll get it. But yeah, so super simple. And at the same time, if you've been feeling it, I know I've been feeling it. It's near the end of the school year. So everything can seem super simple and super overwhelming at the same time, if that makes any sense. We were raised in a family of 11 people in the same house. And my mom was kind of like, the captain of the ship. She cooked the meals. She took us to all the practices and the games and the school stuff and everything. And I honestly don't know how you did it because it's so much. It's so much. So it is
It was.
national. Yeah. And here's the thing, right? Like I just posted something on my Instagram, and it's a very simple question, but it's a very important question. And the question is, what's the risk of not doing it? Right? And when it comes to your health, right? If you ask yourself, what's the risk of not doing it? It's huge. Especially as women, we usually put ourselves at the bottom of our own to-do list, and we take care of everyone else. We pour into everyone else and we put ourselves last. And I can tell you from watching my mom's life experience, don't do it. Don't do that. If you put yourself first, you will be able to take care of everyone else in your life so much better, and from a heart space of joy and happiness, and not from a place where you resent everybody in your life, from your spouse to your husband to whoever else, because you haven't poured into yourself. Right? Min, do you have anything to share on that?
I got married at 18, and in my 20s, I have this friend who had rheumatitis arthritis, a bad one. So she had to go through, she had like in her knees, all the, I don't know, at 23 years old, at 27 or 28, she had to get many surgeries. So she had a lot of steel in her body. So when I used to visit her, she used to tell me what, like, first thing she used to ask me, have you eaten? And I used to say, no. Like, this is 12 or 1 p.m. in the afternoon. And she used to make me sit and eat. And she used to say, first you eat and then you serve your family. And I didn't understand what she was saying at that time. But what you are saying is very true. First, you fill up your cup, then only you can give it to others. Now, I learned it hard way, but yeah,
And it all
taking
has
care
a
of your health
stacking
is number one priority.
and it all has a stacking effect, right? So it and you'll what I'm a lot of times, and your friend said this to me on the phone the other day, like, oh, I don't know how you do what you do, right? Remember, when you see someone on social media, you're just seeing a glimpse of their life, and usually they're only sharing the part that is going well, right? A lot of times people are not sharing the hardships and the challenges and the things that are not going well in their life. So don't use other people's highlight reel as an example of how everything for everybody else in the world is going so well except for you. Look at your life and assess the season of life you're in. I can tell you, 7 years ago, when my kids were young, and I had them 18 months apart. So I got pregnant when my first baby was 9 months old, and I had my second baby when my first baby was 18 months old. And for the longest time, I was just in this fog of early motherhood. I was the first of all my friends, of all my cousins, of everybody in my inner circle to have kids. So I didn't really have much of a support system. And at the same time, I was going to the hospital caring for dying people. And at the same time, I found out I have this genetic mutation and I had to get mammograms and MRIs and think about surgeries and all of this stuff. And I wasn't in the headspace at that time to share my journey, because sometimes when you're going through it, you just have to put your head down and go through it. And then when you get to the other side and you learn what you learn and you're ready to share, then at that point in your life, you know, certain things might be easier. So now when you're sharing, everything looks easy. But that's not the reality, right? We all go through different seasons in our life. Some seasons are tougher mentally, emotionally, or physically, and other seasons are a little bit better. And that also goes from month to month. Like one month, I can tell you, January and February were extremely, extremely hard for my family. You know, we were going through some things, and then March and April were super fun, and we were on vacation in Barcelona and all of that. So what I'm trying to say is it's, you know, Mother's Day just passed. It's National Women's Health Month. Do one thing today or this week that's going to put yourself at the top of your to-do list. Whether that's calling your doctor, whether that's making an appointment for the screening test that you've been putting off, whether it's doing a little bit of meal prep so that, you know, you're not eaten by the wolves when they come home from school about what's for dinner and you haven't prepared anything. I know, because as soon as my kids get off the bus, the first thing they say before they even say hi to me is, "What's for dinner? I want a snack." And it's like, so if you, and I said this in my newsletter last week, like if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail, right? So a little bit of meal prep is going to take you such a long way. Drop the kids off at school, go for a walk, get your steps in first, so that at the end of the day, even if nothing else went right, you can say, okay, but I got my 7,000 steps, or I got my 8,000 steps, right? And that alone, you are doing so much to reduce your risk of chronic disease, to optimize your health and your energy, your longevity, your mental health. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, right? And so if this didn't have so much power, I guarantee you, me and my mom would not be here every week showing you recipes and talking about different foods. Each one of these foods alone carries benefits. And when you put it together in a meal, it is literally like a medicine cabinet. If we could prescribe these foods as medicine, we would. But most doctors don't know the power of food as medicine, right? So even if it means sitting down, like she just said, and eating a nice lunch or a nice breakfast after the kids have gone to school or before you go to work or whatever it is, do it, because you deserve it. And what you do, what you put in your body in terms of food affects your gut health. And your gut health then goes on to affect your hormonal health, right? So if you're in menopause or perimenopause like us, right, it affects your mood. It affects your immune system. It affects your risk of cancer down the road. In menopause, people don't realize this, but when our estrogen levels go down, we are at a higher risk of something called insulin resistance. And insulin is the hormone in our body. Every time we eat, all the food is broken down to sugar. And so our body releases insulin to basically go and capture that sugar and store it where it needs to be stored. And as we go into menopause, you know, and our estrogen levels go down, our body stops listening. It stops listening to insulin and it becomes insulin resistant. And that down the road can lead to that excess weight around the midsection. It can lead to then prediabetes and diabetes and high cholesterol. And the downstream consequences of all these silent killers is the massive heart attack, is the massive stroke, is the Alzheimer's. And trust me, as someone who took care of, people living with serious illness, dying with serious illness for 10 years. There is nothing more important today than your health, because the way you take care of your health today is going to determine how you're living in your 50s and 60s and 70s. And you can ask my mom. She says it all the time. She's 56 now, and she keeps telling me, like, I feel it in my body. Like, I feel like I'm aging. I feel like I'm getting slower. But a lot of what she is dealing with today is as a consequence of her lifestyle in her 20s, 30s, and 40s.
And then went through those twice, got hit by the cancer, and then on top was the went through the emotional trauma of divorce, and then mental health. It's all affect the mental health, you know. So eating right is the key of life, I feel like. And that's why God give us so much of fresh fruits and vegetables, which we don't use it as a medicine. I was at the wedding. I actually for last 2 weeks I've been, invited to family weddings, and the food was like tasty. Yeah, I'm sure it was tasty, but it was not good for my health. And I was like, when I came home and I ate little bit of it, first of all, I'm plant based, so I don't get that much of a variety to eat when you go to banquet hall parties. But then, if you're eating that naan every day, or those, like so much of full of carbs you're eating, you feel bad about it. I've been feeling really bad in my gut and my mental health. Like, what did I feed my body? And recently, now that I've been learned a lot from you and my journey myself, health journey, my friend, I had a catering company, and my friend offered me a job. She said, my daughter really wants your rose petal laddus. Can you make about 80 boxes, like about 1,500 pieces? And I said to her, I would love to do that, but what I feel is that if you can, why do you want to feed? You want to give away sweetness to people? Give them chocolate dip strawberries instead of my laddus, because we are increasing people's insulin.
Yeah.
And she said,
And it's not, and
but
that's not it. It's
I
not,
said
and
no
I,
to money. I said no to money. I would have made money out of it. But my awareness, feeling guilty that if I'm going to make that, I'm going to feed people sugar and carbs. And it is
and
not like. So
I mean,
I
here's
was
the,
actually proud of that, saying no to money,
yeah,
because of my awareness, because of what I went through myself.
yeah.
You know?
I mean, a couple of things to what you just said. So it was Mother's Day weekend, and we went out on Saturday night and Sunday night, and the kids had birthday parties. And so there was a lot of sugar, a lot of treats. And sometimes we can get in the mindset of like, oh, well, it's Mother's Day, or it's my birthday, or it's his birthday or her birthday. But guess what? Every week there is something. If it's not a national holiday, it's your something you're celebrating with your job or a success or your birthday or your child or your mother's or your father, like, or your friends or your neighborhood. Like, there is always going to be something. And so you have to protect, you have to have almost like a bubble when you go out into these environments where you are going to be. There is no doubt our modern food environment, we are surrounded by processed and ultra processed foods everywhere, from our grocery store to every social gathering we go to. And so here are a few ways to kind of protect yourself when you go to these gatherings, instead of telling yourself like, oh, it's this celebration, I can just eat this. Because I promise you, there's a celebration always. Every day is a celebration anyways, right? Because every day you wake up alive is a gift, right? So there's a few things you can do before you go to a party or before you go to a gathering. Eat a little something that is, real food, fiber rich, protein rich, because your body will be satiated. And as soon as you see the nice spread of, all of this fried and fatty and sugary foods, you're not going to right away want to eat something, because you're satiated already, because you pre-filled yourself with a little fiber and a little bit protein. And then also, obviously, hydration, drink water, right? And then when you get there, right, go look for the salad. I promise you, there's always a giant salad bowl. It's always the last thing to be touched. And fill your plate with some salad first. So again, you're doing the same thing. You're filling yourself up with fiber, which then satiates our body. It activates hormones in our body that shut down our hunger center, right? Then we're not eating with our eyes and with our taste buds, right? And so you do that. And the other good tip I always give my clients is use a smaller plate. So instead of going for the big dinner plate, use the small dessert plate. And the nice thing about that is that by the time you put food in your mouth, by the time it actually reaches your gut and activates the certain hormones to tell your brain, hey, I'm full, it can take about 15 to 20 minutes. And so sometimes we fill our plate so much and we eat so much. And then after we get this feeling of being bloated because we didn't give our body enough time to signal to say, hey, I'm full. So when you eat on a smaller plate, and you fill it first with fiber or protein rich foods, then you are giving your body that time to digest and also signal to your brain, hey, I'm starting to get full, right? And then once you've done that, right? So eat a little bit before you go, just a snack that's high in fiber, high in protein. Then when you get there, right, use a little plate and fill it with more fiber, protein rich foods first. And then you can go for the, probably at my mom's party, there was samosas and pakoras and all sorts of fried Indian street food, but then also the dessert, the cakes, the cupcakes, all of that. And here's what I do. And this is what I did this weekend. On Saturday night, my husband doesn't do the same thing, but and neither do my kids. And here's the thing, like because we eat so well during the week, on the weekends when we're out at a party, I don't jump in to restrict my kids and my husband
But
because
that's
it's
care
really
also. That
it's
is
yeah, and
totally
it's
care. Yeah.
and it's and it's about an abundance mindset, right? It's about what are you doing 80 to 90% of the time that's going to make the biggest impact for your health down the road. And so on the weekends you have fun, that's okay. But I'll tell you what I personally do as someone who's in menopause at a much higher risk of heart disease and bone disease and Alzheimer's because I went into menopause at 32 and the cancer thing because of the mutation. This is what I usually do is number one, if I'm going to a friend's house, I usually bring my own dessert. So I'll make it and then I'll bring it
I
and then
make my own salad when I go.
that's what I'll eat.
I volunteer for a salad. I'll bring a salad.
And that's not always
And
possible, right? That's not always possible. We do that because now that's the lifestyle we've cultivated. That's not always possible. But here's what I do. Like on the weekend, we ate out on Saturday night and we ate out on Sunday night. Really good vegan food, really good vegan desserts. But instead of ordering my own, I let my husband order his and then I just took one bite. And I ate that bite so mindfully and so like with like just it was so good. Like it was a on Saturday night it was a peanut butter tart. And I didn't just eat the whole thing like really quickly. I took the bite and I really savored it. I really enjoyed it. It had a little bit of sea salt. It was so good. And then Saturday night, the kids ordered a chocolate brownie with ice cream, and I had 2 bites of that. So instead of thinking like, okay, I'm going to eat the whole thing, how about we share, right? So that also is another tip or trick that I would use. And Sami's saying, and chew slowly. Absolutely. And this is something that I'm trying to work on with my kids, and it's really hard, but that is definitely really important, right? So like the slower you chew, the digestion process actually starts in our mouth with our saliva to help break down the food. And so the slower you chew and then you swallow, that also signals to the brain, hey, I'm starting to get full, and so it prevents you from overeating. The problem is why most of us don't realize that we're overeating and that we're not full is because 60 to 70% of our standard American Western diet is made up of processed and ultra processed, hyper palatable foods that have been stripped of fiber, that have been stripped of vitamins, minerals, that don't have a whole lot of protein. And so, we just want to keep consuming it because it never really signals to our brain that we're satiated, because we need that fiber and we need that protein component to activate hormones like GLP-1, right? So anyways, I went on a whole tangent today, but I say this
The
and I
change
say this
starts
over
with you.
and
The change starts with you,
you know what
right?
Sophie said to me yesterday?
Uh,
My daughter said to me yesterday, it was so random and it was not in the context of anything. It was so random. Uh, we were just sitting there right before going to bed, and she said something about some food and she didn't really like it. But the thing she said after that, which I didn't prompt it or anything, she said, but it's okay because I know if I eat it and try it again and again, then my body will eventually like it.
wow.
Right?
Because you
So,
usually say, try it, at least take a bite when you are making them try something new on the table. So because you keep on drilling that in their brain, so she knows, which is awesome. Like she's 8-year-old kid.
yeah.
It's
And
amazing.
the rule in our house, except when Nani's around, when my mom comes, I have to remind her it's okay if they leave a little food on their plate. My mom's like, no, you must eat it. And my husband loves that, but it's such an old school mentality. Let them listen to their bodies, okay? My job
That
is
is
to
fine,
buy.
but at the same time, you only
They,
put so much in your plate. You don't waste food. You just put little bit at the first to
yeah,
start
that's
with.
true.
Don't over fill up your plate because there are kids around the world they don't get food,
No,
and they
that's
get
true.
so much. That is my thinking. That if you
Yeah,
put something in your plate, that's your responsibility to finish. Don't put so much then. So
yeah,
then maybe
no, that's true.
you should give them little bit so that there's no wastage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I like
that's
that.
my
That's true.
mentality. Not that too. I need to make them fat or anything.
although
No
my
way.
husband although my husband loves it. When she comes, he swears that my kids gain weight when my mom is in town, which is probably true. I gain weight when she's in town too. But the point is in our house we just have a rule, like you don't have to eat everything that's on the table. But if there's something new there, you just have to try it. And I remind my kids, like sometimes you have to try something, 10 or 11 times before our palate or our taste buds develop a taste for it. And lately they're 6 and 8, but they see that we put spice on everything and they've been wanting to try spice. So the other day we had something and we had chana masala, and my son was like, I want to put the cayenne pepper. And we said, okay, go ahead. And like he put a tiny pinch. I don't think he even felt anything, but that's how, right? The curiosity, you get them to try one bite or a little pinch or a little sprinkle. Like that's how you develop the taste buds. And the same is true for us, right? The same is true for us. So if you are used to eating mostly a standard American processed diet, and you haven't eaten zucchini before, or you haven't, you don't eat a lot of beans or lentils, obviously there's going to be a transition period, right? You can't just go from eating a processed diet to a mostly whole food diet overnight, because your gut bugs need to adapt. You need to cultivate the healthier gut bugs, right? And that takes time. And so a lot of times people will eat, black beans or chickpeas and say, oh, I can't do it. I get bloated or I get gassy. But that's because you've cultivated a microbiome that's used to eating processed foods and not the healthy gut bugs that thrive off of whole fiber protein rich foods. And so give it time, right? Give it time. You will develop the taste buds. You will also develop the microbiome and all of that with time. And all at the same time, you're decreasing your risk of so many diseases down the road. And that's the beauty of all of this. Is I came down this path going from eating a standard Indian American diet to learning about whole food, plant-based nutrition, about food as medicine when I found out about my genetic mutation. And I thought, I need to find the best diet to reduce my risk of cancer. Little did I know that same way of eating also reduces my risk of heart disease, also reduces my risk of Alzheimer's, also helps my bone health, also helps my mental health, also sets a great example for my children to create generational health. It's all one lifestyle, and that is the beauty of it. And all you have to do is take the first step. And so whether that's eating a salad today, whether that's getting your steps in, whether that means calling your doctor and setting your screening test, whatever it is, especially for my women, for my busy moms, please, please, please put yourself first. That's all I can say. Okay. So that's my emotional rant for today. If you guys have any questions or thoughts, Bobby, thanks for the love. If you guys have any thoughts, please share them in the comments. If not, if you thought this was a helpful live, if you want to share it with a friend who needs to hear this, please share it after it's over. And then also, if you want the recipe for the Thai zucchini noodle bowl, it's gonna be on Instagram. You just have to comment zucchini on the post, and I will send that to you. There is a lot of fun things that I am working on behind the scenes. A course that will be launched. My mom and I have written an ebook with our top whole food soy recipes. So we are in the process of testing those right now. That's going to hopefully be a launch in October for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So there's a lot of really fun stuff, resources that I'm working on to bring to you in between the joys of motherhood. so, so, anyways, I hope you guys have a beautiful day. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for all the love. And I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your week. All right. Bye, man. Enjoy your salad.
Yeah, thank you very much and hope to see you guys very soon. Bye.